Hey, welcome to a new video. This video is very helpful for your life. So let's get started this video.
So, have you ever looked around and just wondered, why do the rich seem to get richer, almost like it's on autopilot? Meanwhile, so many other people feel like they're just stuck, running on a treadmill and getting nowhere. It's a super frustrating question, right? But the answer isn't just luck or even hard work. It's about a system. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how that system works. I mean, it's a thought that probably crosses all of our minds at some point. You see people putting in an incredible amount of effort, right? Working day in and day out, but they just never seem to get ahead financially. And then you see other people whose wealth just seems to grow. Is that just fate? Or, and this is the big question, is there a hidden set of rules they're playing by that we don't know about? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're going to break down the fundamental principles of money that, for whatever reason, are just completely left out of the traditional school curriculum. Honestly, this is the financial education you probably wish you had. Okay, so to really get a handle on this system, we first have to understand the trap, the thing that keeps most people stuck. It's a concept you might have heard of. It's famously called the rat race. And this cycle is so common. It goes something like this. You get a job to earn money. Then, as you start to earn a little more, your lifestyle kind of inflates to match it, right? You get a bigger apartment, maybe a nicer car, but here's the catch. Your expenses and your debts grow right along with it. And before you know it, you're trapped in this endless loop of working just to pay the bills with basically nothing left over at the end of the month. It's a hamster wheel, for sure. And figuring out how to get off is step one. And now, what's really interesting is the science behind why this cycle is so incredibly hard to break. There's this researcher, Elder Shafir, who uses a brilliant suitcase metaphor. Think about it like this. Wealthy people have a really big suitcase. They can pack their financial lives easily with plenty of room to spare. But for someone struggling, it's like they have a tiny, overstuffed suitcase. Every single financial decision, every single one, requires this intense focus and juggling and making trade-offs. And that, as you can imagine, just eats up a massive amount of mental energy. And the cost of this constant financial stress, it's staggering. I mean, get this. Studies have actually shown it can lower a person's functional IQ by 13 to 14 points. That's literally the cognitive equivalent of pulling an all-nighter and losing an entire night of sleep. So when your brain is completely overloaded just trying to survive day to day, it becomes almost impossible to think long-term and plan your way out. All right, so if the trap is the rat race, what's the key to escaping? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in how you think about money. This right here is the core difference between the people who stay stuck and the ones who finally break free. And this really illustrates the two opposing mindsets perfectly. The most common approach, right, is to focus on earning a higher salary. We think, oh, if I can just get a raise, all my problems will be solved. But the wealthy mindset, it isn't about earning more, it's about owning more. The entire focus shifts to building or buying things that generate income for you, even when you're not on the clock. You know, Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just put it so perfectly. This one idea is the absolute foundation of building wealth. It's all about turning your money into an employee, one that works for you 24/7, never sleeps, and tirelessly generates even more money. Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you make your money work for you? Well, it all starts with understanding this simple but incredibly powerful difference between two things, assets and liabilities. And trust me, this is the most important financial game you will ever learn to play. Let's keep this super simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. It generates income. It adds money to your bank account. Just think of it like a little money-making machine that you own. And a liability, you guessed it, it's the exact opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. It's something that costs you money, a total financial drain. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the left column. These are assets. We're talking about things like stocks, real estate that brings in rental income, maybe owning a piece of a business. This is what wealthy people focus on acquiring. Now look at the right column, liabilities. Car loans, credit card debt, expensive gadgets, luxury stuff that loses value the second you buy it. So often, the poor and middle class spend their money here, thinking these are signs of wealth, but in reality, they just create more expenses. The whole game, the entire strategy, is to focus your energy and your money on building up that left column. So once you start acquiring assets, this is where an incredible, almost magical force begins to work in your favor. Some people have even called it the eighth wonder of the world. It is the engine that truly, truly builds wealth over time. And we're talking about the power of compounding. It's basically a snowball effect for your money. You earn a return on your first investment, right? But then you start earning returns on those returns. It just keeps building on itself. And over time, this creates this exponential J-curve growth that is almost hard to believe when you see it in action. Okay, let's look at what this actually means in real numbers, because this is wild. A consistent monthly investment of just 5,000 rupees, that's about 60 US dollars, can grow like crazy over time. After 5 years, you're looking at over 4 lakhs. But then look at the jump to 20 years. It's almost 50 lakhs. The growth isn't a straight line, it's exponential. The growth in just the last few years is bigger than the first 10 years combined. This is exactly why they say starting early is the most powerful thing you can do. And the best part is, getting started is way easier than most people think. A systematic investment plan, or an SIP, is a fantastic way to just automate this whole process. It's simple. You choose a mutual fund or a stock you like, you decide on a small amount you can comfortably afford. It can be tiny. Then you just set it to invest automatically every month. That's it. You're putting the power of compounding to work for you without even having to think about it. Okay, so we've looked at the trap and we've talked about the tools you need to escape it. But all of this brings up a really important question, which is, if this knowledge is so absolutely critical for having a successful life, why on earth isn't any of this taught in school? It's a really valid and, frankly, a pretty important question. And the truth is, there are a bunch of systemic reasons. School curriculums are already jam-packed. There's a real shortage of teachers who are actually trained in personal finance. And let's be honest, since it's not on any standardized tests, it just doesn't get prioritized. And what that means is that the responsibility, unfortunately, falls on us to go out and find this knowledge for ourselves. So let's wrap this up with a clear, simple path forward. Step 1, you have to make financial knowledge a priority. Read the books, watch explainers like this one, basically become a student of money. Step 2, with every single dollar you earn, you have to consciously focus on buying assets, not liabilities. And finally, step 3, make investing a priority, not an afterthought. You have to pay yourself first by putting money into your assets before you pay all your other bills and expenses. So I want to leave you with this one final question to think about. I want you to take a really hard, honest look at your own financial life and ask yourself this: are you spending your life working for money? Or have you started building a system where your money is finally working for you? Because the answer to that one question, well, that's what's going to determine your entire financial future.